What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. And in this video, I'm going to be recapping the beatdown that the Minnesota Vikings gave the New York Giants. Now, before this game started, I said there were three keys for the New York Giants. The first key I gave was that I thought that the New York Giants had to continue to convert on third downs, and it's actually something they did pretty well in this game. They were 8 for 16. They did a good job with the QB sneaks up the middle for Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones used his legs on one play. I think it was like a 2nd and 7 or 3rd and 7. He was able to pick up a first down. So they did a pretty good job with the third down conversions, 8 for 16. I then said that they needed to get a pass rush, something they did okay. They got 3 sacks, but overall, he had way too much time to throw the football. They hit so many big plays down the field. And my third key, they got thoroughly manhandled. I knew going into the game that the Giants had a big disadvantage there with the middle linebackers, right? With all the injuries, plus Lorenzo Carter didn't play. The guys they had in there were awful. Nate Stupar got relieved of his duties in the second half. They brought in the rookie Josiah, who actually played better. And Mayo, I guess, played okay, but they were getting killed over the middle with the underneath crossing patterns all game long. The play action pass. Kirk Cousins, I expected to throw the football early and often. That's exactly what he did. They also got the running game going with Dalvin Cook. They basically did whatever they wanted to do in this football game. They moved the ball to the tune of 490 yards. They had 350 yards at halftime. Somehow, I think the New York Giants may have won the time of possession or at least evened it up, but in the first half is where the Vikings won the game. They beat the Giants by almost 12 minutes in the time of possession in the first half. Daniel Jones, overall, I can't say he played a good game. He didn't. But at the end of the day, he didn't have his pieces. He was down to having Penny in there in the backfield, who actually didn't do an awful job of running the football, but no Saquon Barkley. Then, of course, Gallman goes down with a concussion. They were down, they were decimated with injuries. Ingram dropped too many balls. Ingram had 2 passes that he dropped that were huge drops in this game. Has to come down with those balls. Shepard dropped the ball in the end zone that they challenged for a pass interference, which was a mistake. They should have challenged the time before where they were down in the end zone, where there was a clear pass interference, that if the New York Giants challenged there, they got a first and goal on the 1. But I'm not going to make excuses. The Vikings were a much better football team today. They manhandled us up at the point of attack. They were able to run the ball down our throats whenever they wanted to. The crossing patterns and the screen passes. They took advantage of us, right? They knew when we were going to blitz. They hit us with the screens, right? They knew when we weren't. They hit us with the run up the middle. They did whatever they wanted to do. DeAndre Baker got picked on. Everybody got picked on. If I'm going to say somebody had a good game, Peppers played out of his mind, right? He stripped that fumble. He played a great all-around game. Peppers was all over the field for the New York Giants today, and he was a standout along with Darius Slayton. Darius Slayton caught that beautiful pass early in the game to keep it to 1 score. A good throw there by Jones. Overall, Jones made some mistakes. A game that he could build off of, no doubt about it. And you knew he was going to struggle, right? If they couldn't run the football today and get into third manageable, second manageable, you knew Jones was going to struggle, especially without Saquon Barkley. And he did. He made some mistakes he shouldn't have made. But this game is not on Jones. The defense was awful in this game. They were absolutely horrendous. All you got to do is look at the average yards per play, and it's actually even closer at the end of the game than it was going into the fourth quarter, because they were kneeling the ball, run the ball. But the Vikings averaged 7.7 yards per play, where the Giants averaged 3.4. There you go. The only reason the Giants were in this game, to be honest with you, the Vikings had almost 100 more penalty yards than the Giants did. That's actually what kept the Giants in this game. The Giants should have lost this game by even more than what they did. The final score, 28-10. The Vikings come out with a much-needed victory. Both teams came in at 2-2, trying to get the 3-2. Of course, the Cowboys will be playing in a minute. I may be streaming that game. We'll have to wait and see. But Giants need the Cowboys to lose. And now we got the Patriots coming up next, and that game is going to be incredibly hard to win. I know the Redskins challenged them a little bit there in the first half. The Patriots defense is ridiculous. It's going to be even harder for Daniel Jones to move the football next week, especially if Saquon Barkley does not play. We'll have to wait and see if Barkley gets healthy. If he is healthy, maybe the Giants could keep the game relatively competitive, but I don't think we're getting out of New England with a win. I think you're looking at a 2-4 start for a young team that needs to grow. Pat Shurmur made some questionable play calls. Not gonna make excuses for him. He definitely did. But at the end of the day, we were a banged-up team, specifically on defense, and the Minnesota Vikings took advantage of that. When you have Mayo and Stupar in there and you're asking them to guard guys like, Thielen over the middle, who was killing us all game long with those crossing patterns. He had like 130 yards. Cousins played great. We had a big disadvantage there on the defense, and they exploited it. Vikings got a win that they needed. They picked on us. They picked on a beat-up, young, inexperienced defense, and that's exactly what we are. This was a test today to see where we were at, and now we know we still have a lot of room to grow, and hopefully this defense gets much better next week. I mean, there's not much more to say. We got absolutely beat. I am done. They took all the energy out of me. The energy was out of me by the end of the third quarter. They beat us into submission. Minnesota Vikings win 28-10. They get the 3-2. Congratulations on the victory. We got to come out next week and fight with all we got against the New England Patriots, and I at least want to see a great effort, and hopefully we come out on top. But if we don't, at least we got Arizona the following week, a game in which we should win, but we got to come out with a good effort next week. All I ask from the Giants, do not rush Saquon Barkley back. There is no point in risking an injury. If he's 100%, let him go, but there's no point in rushing him back. Hopefully the defense continues to get better. On the bright side, we got 3 more sacks today. That's 13 on the year, so that continues to be a plus. Marcus Golden came up with a sack, but the coverage is just really bad. And they were in zone coverage. Didn't really understand that. We've struggled with zone coverage all year, and it seemed like we were in a lot of zone today. I don't know. There's a lot of questions that need to be asked to James Betcher after this performance. But at the end of the day, if you're being fair, we had a lot of inexperienced players out there. Our fourth and fifth string middle linebackers, they picked on us all day due to that with the crossing patterns over the middle and the screen passes. And that's it, guys. A lot of checkdowns as well. But Giants lose. That's all I could say. As always, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe, drop a comment, maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.